Hi, this is Damien from Top 5 E-Bikes, and today I'm going to do our review of the 1500 watt volt dual suspension from Amp Rides. So I'm actually on my way to Omar's. He lives about 10 miles from me. We're going to barbecue, and this is the last day that I have the Volt. So tomorrow we're actually going to meet with David Brand New. And what's up, David Brand New? We are going to exchange bikes. So he has the other Amp Rides bike that I'm really excited about. It's the Razorback, and that's the mid-drive motor one. Super powerful motor. So yeah, that's going to be awesome. We're gonna meet up tomorrow. So if you're a fan of e-bike content, if you're a fan of this review in particular, please leave a comment. Please like this video and subscribe to Top 5 E-Bikes. You can also follow us on Instagram and social media. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my pros and cons on the Volts. I've put about 100 miles on it, and so I have pretty strong opinions on this bike. The Amp Rides dual suspension Volt e-bike comes with either a 750 or 1500 watt motor. The model in our video is fully loaded and includes the 1500 watt motor, which delivers 90 Newton meters of torque and up to 2000 watts of peak power. Our version retails for about $28.99 because it includes a 52 volt by 25 amp hour battery, BMX style handlebars, upgraded quad piston hydraulic brakes, a hydrostatic carbon fiber finish, Pro Palm hand grips, and an oversized motorcycle style light. So my favorite thing about this e-bike, and probably the number one reason you would want to get this bike, is just the awesome power of this 1500 watt motor, and there's the acceleration that you get when you're on this bike, right? You know, you might have seen some of our other videos where you see just how fast this bike can go, and in 4 or 5 level pedal assist, like this bike will smoke a Super 73, for instance. And you know, when you're riding a bike in general, especially in an urban setting, whether it's an e-bike or a road bike, you often find yourself in uncomfortable scenarios where you have cars flying by you, or you're approaching an intersection, or you're stopped at an intersection and it's a wide intersection and you need to get across that intersection as quickly as possible. Well, I've never been on a bike where I could just zip through and I have no worries, I have no fears. I can get out of people's way so fast on this bike, and that's actually an added comfort when you have a bike this fast and this powerful. So yeah, I kind of feel safer on this bike, right? Even though like it's intimidating because you're going faster and you're getting up to 30 miles per hour on this bike, and the acceleration, if you're not careful, yeah, you could, you know, hit something. You could veer off and hit a curb or something like that. So you have to be super cautious on this bike, but that added just comfort and security that you know you can get out of people's way. You know, like I've never really been on a bike where I felt that level of confidence riding. So I would say that's my favorite thing about this e-bike. People that are going to buy this e-bike, I think for the most part, they're buying it for the motor and they're buying it for the battery life. You know, you're not buying it for the safety, you know, measures, right? You're not buying it because of the rack or because it comes with fenders, although it does come with fenders and a rear rack. But it's really about the fun you're going to have on this bike. It's really about how powerful this motor is. You know, the other thing I really like, and I think another big draw to this bike, to the Volt, is just the look, the design of the bike. I get a lot of looks when I'm riding this bike because it does kind of have that motorcycle feel, that kind of dangerous look to it, with the 20 by 4 inch fat tires, with the BMX handlebars, the BMX style handlebars that come with the Elite package that actually this bike is outfitted with. I think this is the kind of bike that's going to appeal to the Super 73 crowd. I think this is the kind of bike that would appeal to like the juice bike scrambler crowd as well. Yeah, it's just a fun looking bike. It's just a cool bike that smokes every other bike on the road pretty much. You know, there's nothing like seeing other e-bikes on the road and you just fly by them. You pass them with such ease, and there's just no way they can keep up with you. Like pretty much every e-bike you see on the road, like that's the thing about these bikes, they're high performance e-bikes. That's what Amp rides, that's the segment of the market they're going for. And you know, they're $3,000-$4,000 bikes, they're not $8,000 bikes, right? So that's I would say that's why you might get this bike. So the other thing I really like about this bike is the Tektro Dorado quad piston brakes. They have really amazing stopping power, very satisfying stopping power. And I really felt that when I was doing our battery drain test on Gibraltar Rock. You know, I needed to basically white knuckle down that mountain, and those brakes, I just felt so safe. Like I could really stop on a dime with these brakes. The seat is also something I really like. It's very cushy, and you know, like with some of this, like with the Super 73 and with the Scrambler, which I feel are, you know, profiles similarly to this bike, the seat is so wide that your legs are kind of splayed out. You know, your thighs are kind of like shooting at opposite angles, and it just doesn't feel natural to pedal. Like here, I'm pretty upright and I'm pedaling in a natural motion. I actually like pedaling with this bike. You know, you're probably not going to want to pedal a lot just because this battery is this motor is so powerful, and throttle, it's you know, you can pick up so much speed, but it's actually nice pedaling in this bike. So that's a big pro for me, definitely. More on the look and feel of the bike. There's cool patterns and color options because of the carbon fiber finish. So that's a big plus on the bike as well. So let's talk about some of the cons on this bike. So one thing that I don't really understand is why this bike is foldable. I'm not really a fan of foldable bikes in general, but this bike is so heavy. I mean, it's over 70 pounds. These handlebars, especially these BMX style handlebars, they're so wide that there's just no getting around the fact that this bike is going to take up a lot of space in your house. So you would only have this bike if you had a garage, I think. You know, I don't think you would really want a bike this heavy unless you were rolling it into a garage. You're never going to take this upstairs because it's just such a big bike. You know, you can take the battery off, but like a bike like this, especially with the 20 by 4 inch tires, it doesn't really fit on a rack. Like I can't put this on our bike rack. So I have to put it in the bed of the truck, right? So yeah, if you have a big truck or an RV or something, you might want to fold it. I guess that's the scenario where a bike like this, you know, the folding part comes in handy. But otherwise, like I don't really see the point. Okay, another con of this bike is, you know, even though it has a huge battery, it has a 1300 watt hour battery, because this motor is so powerful, if you're in level pedal assist 3 or 4 or 5, it just sucks the battery so quickly, right? So even though it has such a big battery, like that long range you're gonna get, like 70 miles, 80 miles, that's definitely gonna be just pedaling and pedal assist modes 1 and 2. What Josh is calling driving Miss Daisy mode. So that's the other thing, that the other con I would say about this bike is those modes, the pedal assist 1 and 2, like you get no acceleration in those modes. Like it's almost like they shouldn't even be there. They're so slow. So you don't get a lot of thrust, but to the bike's credit, when you get up to, you know, 20, 25, those modes will still provide a ton of power and help. And if you're pedaling, you know, you're still able to get to like 27, 28, even in pedal assist 2, which you don't really see that in other e-bikes in this class, right? Like if you're in pedal assist 2, you're definitely not going to get up to 28 miles per hour very easily, and you can on the Volt, which is pretty cool. See how I just turned a con into a pro, guys? So pleased with myself. All right, so I would say the last con I have is just some of the peripheral parts on the components on this bike are not super great. The kickstand kind of sucks. It feels like it could break off very easily, and it feels like it's not long enough for this bike. The bike kind of like leans way over on its side when you have the kickstand out. So I think they definitely need to put in a bigger, sturdier kickstand. You know, Shimano Altus shifters, and you know, they're okay, but I feel like that's something you're gonna want to upgrade if you're serious about getting this bike. And you know, I've had the chain fall off once or twice since I've been riding this bike, and I'm not doing anything, you know, that crazy. I'm not pedaling that much. So I would say those are, you know, the cost of the battery, like the reason you're able to get a bike like this for under $3,000 is because of the motor and because of the tires and because of the battery, right? That's where the cost is concentrated in this bike. You know, those other peripheral components, they're kind of more of an afterthought, and I mean, that's why this bike is priced at what it is. But at least you get those Tektro Dorado piston brakes, which I think are pretty great. So full disclosure, this is a sponsored video, so I'm giving you my honest opinion of the bike. I'm not going to tell you this is a great bike and you should run out to buy it just because, you know, it's a sponsored video. I'm giving you my honest feedback on this video, and you know, let's talk about my final thoughts. I think if you're into speed and if you want something that is comparable to like a Super 73 and you want a fun bike, this is the bike that you should get, right? Like the acceleration, just the thrill ride. This is like a thrill ride kind of a bike. I think that's why you would get an Amp Rides bike. You know, if you're a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, I kind of feel like this might be the kind of bike that you would get. You know, if you want a bike that's kind of like a Super 73 style bike, but isn't a super, maybe you want to go against the crowd, right? Maybe your friends all have Super 73s and you're like, nah man, that's not for me, check this bike out, right? And this is actually a bike that's faster than a Super 73. It has more power than the Super 73. So if you're that kind of rider, I think you're gonna love this bike. Like I said, there's maybe a few little minor things you might want to upgrade, like the shifters, maybe the seat, even though it's comfortable. You know, you can always make little upgrades here and there. I wouldn't recommend this bike if you ride a little bit more conservatively. I would not put a kid seat on here. I wouldn't ride with kids on this bike. It's just too powerful. It's just too much thrust. It's too risky. You know, maybe you want a powerful motor because you want to tow something like a trailer, or you tow your friends when you're riding around the neighborhood or something like that. And maybe you're not trying to go very fast. Like, yeah, I could see that maybe, but I feel like if you're buying this bike, you're buying it to go fast. And that's the main reason you would get a Volt dual suspension. You want it for that power, you want it for that acceleration, you want it because it can fly up even the steepest hills at like 20-25 miles per hour, as you can see in our battery drain test. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to say hi to Josh from Amp Rides and say what's up to David brand new. All right, thanks guys.
If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment. Visit us at top5ebikes.com or some of our social media accounts. Thank you.